Good morning. Once again, Monday morning. Well, it's nice to be with you again. I'm Richard, as you can see there on my slide. That's me, Richard Jones from Canada. And I'm here to talk again about communication. I talk a lot about this subject, don't I? You're saying, oh, there's Richard. He must be talking about communication. This time I want to talk because I think there's a new course that we're developing now. It starts next Saturday, actually. It's this one. Oops, there we are. Keep that on the screen for a bit, Felipe. Let me talk over that. This is Leadership and Communication. We've just finished a very interesting 10-hour course on leadership and social competence, and we're following up immediately with one about communication. Develop your natural gifts, right? Desenvolve seus dons naturais. We're really excited about this course because it touches into something so essential for the human being. This is this ability to communicate. I don't just mean in English. We'll do this course in English, so it will help you with your language communication. But communication in general, you know, people have difficulty with that all around the world. It's one of the most challenging aspects, and we're going to find out why that is and deal with some of those blockages, some of those difficulties, so that you can liberate yourself to speak more effectively. And isn't that something that could benefit everybody? This is for sure. So today, as part of our work, we're giving away a free ebook on spirituality and leadership. You just enter your name inside the details of the YouTube. When you're watching YouTube, just enter your name there. There's a link. Enter your name and you'll get this ebook for free. It's an ebook with Claudia Pacheco and I, where we're talking about spirituality, leadership, all of those important things. And another factor about that, Claudia and I will be doing our podcast live tomorrow on YouTube for the first time. Live YouTube, Thinking with Somebody Else's Head podcast. That'll be tomorrow at this time at 11 o'clock. Okay, let's move into the power of communication, which I'm going to give you a little question here. Which is the most powerful communication? Here's the first one. Bill Gates. Interviewer asks Bill Gates, your foundation has invested $10 billion in vaccinations, over the past 2 decades. What's been the return on investment, the ROI? Now, isn't it interesting? Bill Gates has a charitable donation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. They've invested $10 billion in vaccinations. What's been the return on investment? Gates says there's been over a 20-to-1 return. That means what? 10 billion produces 20 times that in revenue for him. If you just look at the economic benefits, that's a pretty strong number. So, why is Bill Gates promoting vaccinations all over the world? This is not questioning the efficiency of vaccines or not, but what's the interest behind that, right? To make money, not only to help people. So it's a foundation involved in making money. Now that's a type of communication. The interviewer, by the way, was very impressed with that answer. Wow, 20-to-1, that's a really good return on investment. So you're able to monetize social participation, social projects. You're able to monetize that in terms of money. If you invested that money in the stock market, Bolsa de Valores, you would not receive anywhere near that amount of money back. So this is a type of communication that's very effective. But let's compare it now. let's compare what Bill Gates is talking about, his communication here. Let's compare it to a more idealistic leader, John Kennedy in the United States. He said, the energy, faith, and devotion that we bring to this work will light our country and all who serve it. And the glow from that fire can light the world. The glow, the Hadia sound of that fire can light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Now, which is the more effective, the more powerful communication? My $10 billion investment has made 20 times that for me? Or ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. And then a lot of us forget the second part of John Kennedy's speech. He said, my fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you, but what together we can do for the freedom of man. Liberdade do homem. I think it's no contest which is more powerful, right? There's a power in this communication of John Kennedy that Bill Gates doesn't have. Bill Gates does not have in his communication. Why? Because John Kennedy, in this speech, was linked, connected to something higher than himself. It wasn't about his interest. It wasn't even about the interest for America. It was about the interest for all the human beings, for the improvement of humanity. So there's a very powerful message in that true communication, true powerful communication is linked, that's the word ligada, connected to something bigger than myself. I'm interested in communicating about a value bigger than my own interests. Now, will John Kennedy's interests be served if people serve the country? Yeah, of course they will. But he's calling people to a bigger mission than just, hey, invest in vaccines and make money for me. There's a big difference between those two, right? They're both very effective forms of communication. One speaking about money, the other speaking about humanity. The more powerful communication, though, in my view, is the one more connected to what's bigger than ourselves. And why is that? Well, I have some philosophy for you. This is Dr. Keppe's view of the human being, that the essential nature of the human being is goodness, truth, and beauty, bondade, verdade, beleza. This is who the human being is in essence. So what's the most powerful communication? Communication connected to the essence of life, or communication connected to making money, right? Now, we're attracted to the idea of making money because of the second layer of problems here, our pathology, our megalomania, arrogance, envy. We're connected to the idea of making money or having power because of our pathology, not because of our essential nature, right? So this is the whole proposal, what I'm talking about today, that your communication has more power if it's connected to truth, goodness, and beauty, pure action. You can motivate people for many things, and people do motivate people for many things. And many economists think that the only motivation that makes sense is a motivation connected to money. But you and I know better than that, right? We know that money is a secondary aspect. It's important for our survival, but in terms of our essential nature, it's a secondary element. It's a tool, ferramenta. It's not part of the essence of man. That's why the great speakers, they don't talk about money. The great speakers want to, even if they're doing a sales presentation, they're talking about how to serve the customer, how to serve the client so you make more money, how to present your product in the best way so that it serves the customer's needs so that you make money. The money is always a secondary aspect. Bill Gates is putting the money as a primary aspect. Wow, that's a really good investment. Vaccines are a good investment as well as being beneficial for humanity. You see the difference? So this is the essential nature. Now, this has been shown in many places. Here's a University of Yale study. You can see the New York Times Magazine there. It says the moral life of babies. Here's how babies responded. We're talking 3 to 9 month old babies, brand new babies who don't have any education even from their family. They're going on pure connection with themselves and with how they see the world. And babies have a moral choice. They make a moral choice. Here's the experiment. You see this little red toy. They put eyes on it, right, to make it look like a human thing. And they show this little cartoon in on an actual palco, an actual stage that the babies are watching. The researchers are holding the babies and they're observing this drama that plays out in front of them on an actual stage. They have this little red ball trying to climb the hill, trying to subir, right, to climb the hill with difficulty because it's very inclinado, and that's very steep. So the ball is having problems to climb the hill. And they bring another toy in, this triangle, the yellow toy. They bring it in, and this toy comes in to help. So it's helping the ball to roll up the hill. Then they do the same thing, the same ball, and they bring in a blue toy to impede, to block, right? So you have these two toys, the yellow toy that is helping, and the blue toy which is impeding. And then they say to the babies, okay, they give the babies, they take a bandeja, a tray, and they put the yellow toy, the helping toy, and the blue toy, the impedindo toy. They put those two toys on the bandeja and offer them to the kids. Which toy do the children choose, the babies? Which toy? Do they pick the yellow toy that helped, or do they choose the blue toy which impeded? What do you think? And now I'll wait for comments because I think Felipe is monitoring in the chat there. Which toy do the babies choose when they're offered them on a tray? The yellow toy that helped or the blue toy that impeded? What do you think? Any answers, Felipe? Anybody speaking yet? Yellow toy. Okay. Everybody saying that? One person only? How many people do we have today, Felipe? Okay, almost 40. Good. So of you 40 people, yellow toy, yellow toy, yellow toy. Okay, now you're making that decision based on your understanding of this essential aspect of the human being, that we are good in our essence. This basic fundamental point, you're making that decision based on that. So this was a surprise for the researchers. They were not expecting that. But when you offer these two toys, a toy that helped and a toy that hindered, the babies almost 100% here would choose the good toy, the yellow toy. They pick the toy that helped. As they get older, it's a lesser percentage, but still in a large part, almost 100% of the babies from 3, 6, 10 months choose the toy that helps. Now, they brought in another variable. They presented a neutral toy. So you have the toy that helped the ball, you have the other toy that impedes, and you have a neutral toy. So here's another question. When they offer the good toy and the neutral toy, what did the babies choose? They chose the good toy, not the neutral one. But when they introduced to the children the neutral toy and the bad toy, the babies chose the neutral toy. What does that mean? Babies are making a moral choice. They're making a moral choice from a very, very young age, before they've learned anything about morals, that tells us, as Dr. Keppe insists in his books, that the essential nature is good. That's inside us. That's a universal value, as Plato talked about. So we make a moral choice from the time we're little babies because of this essential nature. So our communication needs to be connected to goodness, to truth, and to beauty to have real power. The more truthful we are, the more honest we are, the more we develop, and the more our communication is powerful. Now, what that means is sometimes we need to say in a meeting, I don't understand. I don't know what to do. And this is what we have a resistance to, because the truth has a lot of power. Being honest, authentic. You do not have to be super professional. You have to be authentic. Tell the truth. Be connected to goodness. Be real. This is the power of communication. Great communication is real. It's honest. It reflects ourselves and our real values. This is what makes great communication. Now, when a person's interests are directed toward himself, interesan dele, when they are self-centered, they alienate themselves from everything else. When we are focused on ourselves, on our own interests, we become sort of alienated. We don't see really what's going on. We don't have empathy, feeling for other people. We don't know what they're feeling, what they're going through. Any of us who are teachers at our language center, the language center of the Keppe Pacheco Trilogical College, we recognize this a lot. We work with students who have difficulties or frustrations or blocks in speaking. And if we're working in the classroom, we need to be sensitive to those feelings, what people are feeling, what people are experiencing. We cannot be just running over top of it. I've got this message to deliver, and I'm going to deliver it whether you're ready or not. We have to be perceptive. We have to walk and work with those kinds of energies. So we can't be too focused on ourselves. We have to pay attention to other people. So when we're oriented towards ourselves, we are alienated. We don't perceive, we don't have contact with other people, with what they're feeling. So our communication is not effective because we're just blah, 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 imposing and not communicating. Are you understanding? Do you hear what I'm saying? Right? These are all very important aspects of communication. And as Claudia Pacheco goes on to say here in this slide, this generates a certain intellectual anemia. We become kind of ignorant intellectually, mentally. We're not perceiving what's going on. We're not understanding what's going on. We're not seeing the world the way it is. And this means our communication is ineffective. But that makes sense, doesn't it? If you're more interested in contributing, in helping, in participating with other people, you'll be more effective in your communication because you will consider them when you speak. A person who's only interested in what they're saying does not have the other person's interest at heart. So we become kind of ignorant about what's going on around us. And then Claudia says, we are fed, this is alimentado, we are fed by the essential energy that comes from nature, that comes from God. And through consciousness and good action, we're better able to nourish ourselves with this energy, se nutrir, to receive nourishment, nutrição. We receive that from this energy, from nature, from God, when we are connected to these essential eternal values. That's where great communication comes from, and we'll talk about this in our course. So, human beings are of two types, Dr. Keppe says. See which one fits you. The ones who reject pure act, this ação pura, this connection, and fail to progress beyond the sensory level, the materialists. People who are interested in their own interests are interested in material gain. That's why Bill Gates can say, we're vaccinating people, we're helping people with vaccinations, and I'm making a lot of money. Because he's connected at that level, the material level. And those others who accept pure act and enter the whole vast world of love, mundo vasto, vastamento of love, the people who lead humanity. The second group is the group we need to try to be. We need to work towards that, because those are the leaders of humanity. So when we talk about leadership and communication, this is the type of leadership we're talking about. This leadership that moves us into pure action, into goodness and truth and beauty. And not just material, getting the sale, being effective, climbing the corporate ladder, but being effective in the world in this metaphysical sense too. You see the difference? That's the power of great communication. Now, in our course, Module 1, Class 1, Conquering Shyness, Shame, and Embarrassment. Conquistando timidez, vergonha e embarrassment? Embarassamento? Vergonha. Right? How to deal with those issues, because those are real practical aspects. So we'll look at this in our class, try to help people to see what's behind these conditions. Because if the human being is good, truth, and beauty, what's the place of shyness, shame, and embarrassment? That's a type of pathology. It's a type of blocking of our true nature. We're blocking ourselves. So we need to understand this more, how to deal with this. This is what we'll do in our first class. It's a very interesting exploration, because you're going to be exploring some things, some beliefs, crenças that you've had maybe your whole life, and challenging those to try to understand além disso, beyond this, what's going on. Fascinating class. Our second class, Fantasy and Reality in Communication. You cannot believe how much fantasy people create about speaking situations, whether it's speaking in a second language, speaking in a meeting, doing a public presentation, giving your ideas in a team group. There's so much fantasy in all of this, and we're gonna explore fantasy and the reality of communication, right? There's a lot of illusions we have about communication, illusions we have about ourselves, illusions about what others are thinking, fantasy about what's going on that are just not true. They're kind of a type of delirium. That's what we work with in our second class, to help people get connected to reality. You need to be connected to reality to be a good communicator. Module 3, Magnetism and Charisma. Where do these come from? Well, this is a new physics exploration we'll be developing from Dr. Keppe's books in the new physics, and from the Keppe motor, from resonance, all of these things. What is charisma? What is magnetism? What makes somebody magnetic, interesting, you want to watch, you want to listen? What makes them that way? This is what we'll explore in Module 3, and showing how to to capture that. In this part of the presentation, in this part of the workshop, the class, you will have a presentation to make. We'll get you to videotape, and then we'll evaluate, okay? That'll be part of our course too. And our last module, the value of service. This is where I think all the real power of great communication comes from this sense of serving, helping, contributing. This is where the real, true communication lies, okay? This is our course. 5 classes actually. We have an orientation class, and then 4 classes with online material and live Google Meeting classes with the 2 teachers. This is what we'll do in our course, right? Now, why are we doing this? Because we want to summon all of you who have a practical nature, all who possess idealism and dynamism, all who believe in goodness, truth, and beauty, to unite so that a new world can be built, a new society, the true kingdom of man on earth. There's our call. You need to be a better leader, a better communicator, so you can contribute to this new world that we so desperately need. We need leaders. We need communicators in that. All right? This is our purpose. Now, I want to see if you have any questions for me before I go forward. I think I'm moving through pretty quickly. Does anybody have any questions or any observations about what I'm talking about before I wrap up the lecture for today? Any questions, observations, comments? Love to hear from you. Throw them at me. So 1 minute. I have to wait. It takes time. We have this delay going on. What would you like to ask me? What comment would you like to make? Observation. Please tell me in the chat. And Felipe will pass to me here.
This course seems excellent.
Is somebody writing, Felipe?
Yes. Juliana, you are super clear.
Super clear. Okay, good. Super clear communication.
Rachel, this course seems excellent.
This course seems excellent. It is excellent. Any work that we do applying Dr. Keppe's science in any area is really revolutionary. There's nobody in the world doing this. This will be communication at a level that nobody talks about. Okay? All right. So I'm clear. The course sounds excellent. All right. If you have any questions for me, you can keep them in the chat there, and I'll probably have a chance to see them later. This is our call to action, you guys. It's very beautiful. It's very important. This is our course. You have to guarantee your space. Make sure you call our secretaries today. There's the number from our language center to make sure you got a place in this great course. Leadership and Communication. Develop Your Natural Gifts starts next Saturday, 13th of June. Highly recommended. I'll look forward to working with you in this class. It'll be a lot of fun and a challenging course. You'll be facing some things in yourself. So that's really good. You'll be able to overcome, superar, maybe things that you've been fighting with all of your life. Good news. Jessica.
How does idealism help us in communication?
How does idealism help us in communication? Jessica, idealism is an essential nature of the human being. To be idealistic means to be connected to the highest ideals of the human being. What are those ideals, do you think? Aren't those ideals deep inside us? Love, justice, equality, goodness, telling the truth. Those basic qualities that we all have inside us. If I ask people anywhere in the world, what would you like to see for the world? How would you like the world to be? People will say equal, just, good, fair, justo, right? Equality for everybody, equality of opportunity, love, respect, dignity. Everybody will say this. It'll be the same list for everybody, because those are the ideals that we have inside us. So our communication connected to those ideals has power, because then we're channeling energy. We're not just using our own force. We're linked, connected to this goodness in the whole universe. That gives a lot of power and a lot of penetration. When somebody said that I was very clear, it's that clarity that we look for, that clarity of connection to the source of who you are as a human being. There's nothing more powerful than that, Jessica. So that clears the way for us to be very, very powerful in our communication, influential, to motivate people and to help people to do what Dr. Keppe is saying here, right? To help us build a new world. That's why. Yes.
Is asking if it will be in English.
Yes. Yes, the course is in English. We have many of the videos, if we show videos, are always in Portuguese with English subtitles, or in English with Portuguese subtitles, if that's the way it is. There's always help. You always have the help with the texts and stuff. The texts are very short, and we often do the English and the Portuguese as well. So you won't have any problem understanding. Then you'll have a chance to speak and deliver your messages and comments and questions in English. So you're developing your English and developing your communication skills. That's a pretty cool combination, isn't it? Yeah. There's the course. That's when it begins. There's the price. Very reasonable. 10-hour course. Highly recommended. I hope I'll see you there. There's a certificate that we offer from our Faculdade Teológica Keppe Pacheco. So you get a certification for your curriculum, for your resume. That'll help you. Today only, we have this ebook as well. If you register with your name and email address, you'll receive this for free. Spirituality and Leadership, a conversation with me and Claudia Bernhardt Pacheco. Okay? That's what we're doing. There it is. Thank you. Wonderful to be with you. I hope I'll see you in the course and talk to you again next week. Bye for now.